Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial of the day that are relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 24th of January. The first important news, that is India G20 task force on digital public infrastructure. India has recently overtaken the G20 presidency, and there are a lot of priority that is set by the government of India. Second, INS Vagir, the fifth Scorpion summaries have been commissioned in Indian Navy. Third, WHO urge immediate actions after the Cub Sheriff death. Second last, Assam to book men marrying a minor under the POXO Act. And the last is an editorial, needed a new approach to data protection for the minors. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. Starting the news, the first article or the first news, that is India's G20 task force on digital public infrastructure. Something important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So the Union government has set up India's G20 task force on digital public infrastructure for the economical transformation, financial inclusion, and development. So the three key important aspects. First is for the economic development, second is for the financial inclusion, and third is for the overall development. And this task force, the G20 task force on digital public infrastructure, will be chaired by India's G20 Sirpa, that is Amitabh Kant, and the Infosys chairman. Recently, an order was passed by the Ministry of Finance for the constitution of the task force. And this task force will also assess the India's ecosystem and India's readiness to support the global efforts and propose a solutions so that innovations can take place in the country in a timely manner. So how far we are prepared will also be cross-checked with the initiative of G20 Task Force on Digital Public Infrastructure for Economic Transformation, Financial Inclusion and Development. And before I tell you the details about the G20 task force, let's see how it was created when the inception took place. So first, starting with 2016, G20 Digital Task Force was created in China. This is how the inception started. In 2017, the first Digital Economic Ministerial meeting took place in Germany. It's again important. 2018, G20 Toolkit for measuring the digital economy in Argentina was there. In 2019, the first joint meeting and digital economic ministerial meeting took place in Japan. In 2020, Saudi Arabia, where common framework for measuring digital economy was established. In 2021, very recent, the child protections and empowering of the digital environment for the G20 digital economy priority was there in Italy. And the current is G22, where in Indonesia, the Digital Economic Working Group was created. So this all are precisely very important. From examination perspective, this 2022 is very important, where it is can be asked a possible question like the Digital Economy Working Group, when it was created and which was the place. So the correct answer will be Indonesia, and the timeline is 2022. Now, looking into the aim, what is the aim of this meeting, the task force, and how the task force will be looking into the other important aspects. So, the task force will focus upon the overseas and facilitation achievement of India's G20 presidency. And agenda and priority is first on creating a digital public infrastructure, financial inclusions, promoting digital identity, improved and innovation technology based services, including the payment system like UPI and other governance framework. Now, the task force is expected to create a detailed map of India's digital infrastructure across different sectors. Among them, the sector include finance, health, education, skilling, data, taxations, digital commerce, mobility, and beyond. And it will also shortlist the key digital infrastructure to be presented by India within individual G20 tracks. फोकस एरिया ऑफ इंडिया G20 प्रेसिडेंसी की अगर बात करें, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने कैटेगोरिकली ये कहा है कि जो इंडिया की G20 प्रेसिडेंसी है विल फोकस ऑन द पार्ट ऑफ ब्रिजिंग द डिजिटल डिवाइड, स्पेशली in developing countries and ensuring the greater benefits from the digital technologies. India G20 presidency will provide an opportunity to set the drive for global discourse and key economic development issues. Now moving to the other news, that is INS Vagir, the fifth Scorpion submarine has been commissioned, something important for General Studies Paper 3 under the subtopic Achievement of India in Science and Technology, Indianization of Technology and Development of New Technology. Recently, the fifth Scorpion class, that is conventional submarine INS Vagir, was commissioned to Indian Navy, strengthening the overall capacity of the Indian Navy. So the sixth and the last is about to induct. The name is Vagshir, is built in India under the technology transfer, currently on the sea trial, and will be delivered to Indian Navy by 2024. So INS Vagir is the fifth one. The final and the sixth one, that is INS Vagshir, will be given to Indian Navy by 2024. So the commissionization process will take place by 2024. With this, the Navy has now 16 conventional and 1 nuclear submarine in services. It includes 7 Russia's Kilo-class submarines, 4 German HDW submarines, 5 Scorpion-class submarines, indigenous nuclear ballistic submarine, and INS Arihant. Now something briefly about INS Vagir. It's named after the shandfish, deadly deep predator of the Indian Ocean. The submarine is around 220 feet long and having a height of 40 feet. It can reach at the height of 11 knots, and on surface it can reach up to 20 knots. The parts of the 6 Kalaveri class submarine is built in India. So mostly the manufacturing part is indigenous, but technology transfer is from the other country. कालावेरी क्लास ऑफ सबमरीन के अंदर ये सारी चीज़ें आई हैं जितनी भी आईएनएस बनाई गई हैं. So the design of the Calaveri class submarine is based on the Scorpion class of submarine, designed and developed by French Navy group. So the name of the country become very important. A direct question can be framed in the examination although. This class of submarine has a diesel electric transmission system. This is again factually important for exam. The Calaveri class of submarines are capable of launching various type of torpedoes, missiles that are equipped with a range of surveillance, intelligence gathering mechanism. So this will be also boosting the overall capabilities of the Indian Navy in terms of surveillance and in terms of intelligence gathering. Now looking into the other important part, the Calaveri class have 3 important Scorpion. This is under the Project 75. I think most of you must be aware of this fact. The first is INS Calaveri, the other is INS Kanderi, then INS Karanj, INS Vita, INS Vagir. This is the 5th one that has been inducted. That is why we are discussing the news. And the 6th one, INS Vagshir, is going to be inducted to Indian Navy by 2024. Right? Now, they also have the capacity of operating a wide range of naval combat, including the anti-warship and anti-submarine operations, intelligence gathering, surveillance, and Navy mine laying. Moving to the other news, WHO urged immediate actions after the cub sheriff death, something important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic Issues related to development and management of health. The World Health Organization has called for an immediate and concentrated actions to protect the child from contaminated medicines after a spate where child deaths were reported due to basically after intaking the cough syrup. This was the case, and WHO has taken the cognizance of it. And in 2022, more than 300 children, mainly aged under 5, died in Gambia, Indonesia, and Uzbekistan. Because what happened after taking the cough syrup, there was a symptoms where the acute kidney injury was witnessed. because the medicine or the syrup was contaminated. I'll tell you the chemical with which it was contaminated because that might be relevant for the examination. So the toxic chemical that was there in the syrup, the medicine over the counter of the syrup has high level of diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol. So these two were the chemical that was actually used and the reason for the death of the child. So this two chemical compound become very important for examination purposes. And these contaminations of the toxic chemicals used in industrial solvent and anti-fridge agents can be fatal if taken in small amount also. Call for regulation. This is what WHO has been asking for many other countries. So what WHO has said that an action should be there and has asked 194 member countries to prevent any further death. And it has also asked the regulator to assign a resource to inspect the manufacturers, increase the market surveillance, and take action wherever required to save life of the children. Now, WHO has called the manufacturers to buy only raw material that is qualified for the suppliers, and even they are thoroughly checked and keep record for the process that is taking place. Suppliers and distributors should check and sign off falsifications, and only distributor or the sell medicine authorized should be used to get this medicine sold. And if anyone is without authorization doing so, they will be having a heavy penalty also. The WHO has asked the manufacturers to purchase only pharmaceutical grade ingredient and test them. Moving to the other news, Assam to book marrying minor under the POXO Act. So Assam has become the first state that will be applying, basically enacting such law. Important for Gender Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic, that is government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So recently the Assam cabinet has booked two men marrying a girl below the age 14 and in the state under the Protections of Children from the Sexual Offences Act, better known as POXO Act. So Assam has a high rate of maternal and infant mortality, and the primary cause that was cited by the state government is the child marriage. Even the chief minister has categorically during the press conference has highlighted that the child marriage has led to the high rate of the marital and the maternal and the infant mortality. The state government of Assam has decided to make campaign against the child marriage as a priority in the governance. The state has an average of 31% of the marriages in the prohibited age, that is under 16, you can say. This is what actually is below 14, actually that is the precise number that is quoted by the government. Now, invoking POXO Act, this is what the state government has said. So the POXO Act 2012 defined a child individual under the age 18, and if there's any kind of sexual assault, there will be a criminalization of act which is there in the IPC, and those marrying at the age of 14 to 18 will be treated under the POXO Act, and necessary step will be taken by the Assam government. Legal age for marrying women is 18, and for men it is 21 in India. The police has been directed to conduct massive crackdown against the child marriage, and even carried out the awareness campaign and to take actions against those who are violating the norm. So first, what government should do, these are the personal notes that you can even include in the case study as well, that there should be a better campaigning, there should be a better awareness campaign that should help the parents also to get the right age for the marriage of their child. Now, child marriage prevention and prohibition officers are also deputed. They will be recruited by the state government. So the Gram Panchayat secretaries will be designated as the child marriage prevention officers, and it will be in their duty to file a complaint if any child marriage took place in their respective area. And a massive drive against the child marriage will be launched by the state government along with the district authorities that will investigate the matter and counsel the people not to go for the child marriage. And Dhurbi, that is a district in Assam that has 50% of the cases reported, and South Salmara with 44.7% of the child marriage reported in the Assam state. Now there's a data by the National Family Health Survey, and it says that 11.7%, this is for 1920, right? So do keep in mind about the year. This is NFS data, which says that the girls are burdened with heavily motherhood, And though the state is doing well in other health parameters, and maternal child mortality is a matter of concern for the state government. I'll show you some data that will help you to understand about the state and UT how these are increasing in terms of teenage childbearing. So these are the comparison of NFS data 5 and NFS data 4. You can take the screenshot for better revision purposes. And this you can see that Andhra Pradesh has 12.6% and 11.8%. The lowest is among Lakshadweep, and the highest is Tripura with 21.9% and 18.8%. This is the rank 1, and this is almost rank 2nd. Now, other data about the half of a dozen of the child brides have in 5 states. Basically, these states include Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Maharashtra, and Madhya Pradesh. The number of marriages are specifically mentioned in the data. Now, moving to the editorial part, needed a new approach to the data protection for minors, something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is welfare schemes for the vulnerable section of the population by the center and the state government. So what I'm going to discuss under this editorial, first talking about the theme of this editorial, talks about the data protection for the minor. Other important stuffs include the big questions, use of personal data, intervention required, and the way forward. So the draft Digital Personal Data Protection Bill, better known as DPDP Bill 2022, is currently providing a mandatory prenatal consent for all data processing activities by children, that is defined any person under age 18. So a prohibition will be there, and even there are a lot of challenges when it comes to the finding and authentifying the consent age of a child. This is what the editorial discusses. काफ़ी ज़्यादा जो हमारे society में bottlenecks है, even digital literacy is on the lower side, then how this age confirmation will be there and how we can have an ensurety that the child is accessing a right online content. Now the big question is, how freely should India teenage access the internet, and what are the responsibility do the platform means the actual service provider have towards the minor use. And there are important questions that has to be answered to achieve the digital ambitions. It is not only that we have 5G and 6G services, we have a lot more iPhones selling in India and a lot more mobile services. It's all about the holistic development, that how accurately India is achieving its digital ambitions target. The approach, however, misses on the mark of two important fronts. I'll be discussing what are the two fronts upon which the things that is missing. The first among them is, instead of incentivizing the online platform to proactively build the safer and better services, the bill relies on parent consent on behalf of the children in all cases. तो पेरेंट्स पे कहीं ना कहीं ये जिम्मेवारी दी गई है, जो कि अपने आप में काफ़ी bottleneck है इस बिल की. Because in a country where we have low literacy, even the parents are not aware. Even you see your parents like grandparents and father, mother, even they are not aware of how things are actually working out, right? So how in a country where we have a low digital literacy, the parent is often relying on children itself, and the bill is asking that a permission will be given by parents. This is again an ambiguity which is there. So who are actually digital natives, and even help them to navigate the internet in an effective approach to keep children safe online. So this is an ambiguity about the bill, which is calling for a consent by the parents to allow children to use for an online content. Now the second problem is that it does not take into the account for the best interests of the child, which India is a signatory to the Convention on Child Right 1989, right? Apart from that, it has upheld Indian Commissions on Protection for Child Right 2005, Child for Free and Compulsory Education, Protection for Child and Sexual Offence Act 2012, that is known as POCSO Act कोई formations की, but उसके अलावा ये जो bill बनाई गई है वो उसके साथ align नहीं है. However, there has been not applied in the issues of data protections. The bill does not factor how the teenagers use various internet platforms, self-expression, personal development, and how the central data has to be taken in experience with the adolescents these days. Now, use of personal data, another important aspect is the issue of draft data protection bill, that in each platform will have to obtain verifiable parental consent in the case of minor. This provision, if enforceable, can change the nature of the internet, since it's not possible that a user is as a minor. How the confirmation will take place is a big challenge. Verifying the age is a big challenge for the agencies and the platform as well. The government will prescribe the verifiable criteria, how whether they need to have a face recognitions based on some IDs, what will be there. This the government has to decide and come up with a rule very soon. Intervention की अगर बात करें, the first intervention should be that we should move from a blanket ban on tracking, monitoring, and adopting a risk-based approach to the platform obligations. And platforms should be mandated to undertake the risk assessment, minor and only perform the age verification related corresponding, and even also design services with default setting features that protect child from harm. Second is that there's a need to relax the age of mandatory parental consent services, that is from 13 in line with mandatory other jurisdictions across the globe. And by relaxing consent requirement, we will minimize the data collections, which one of the principle that is built upon this bill. To conclude, the way forward can be that the government must design a policy that balances the safety and the agencies of the children online. We should also think that onus of keeping the children safe should not be directly as their own children or their own parents. It is not that the parent should be solely responsible for this online content viewing, but instead the society has an obligations to ensure that we are creating a society where the brain of a child is accessing our right content. The principle of the best interest for children and more responsibility platform should inform the India's approach to data protection for the minors. Now moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question also, the correct option is C. Today's MCQ for practice. Ambedkar Social Innovation Incubation Center. It aims to boost entrepreneurial innovation among the SC student and SC Divyanjan. The mission is under the mission skill and development and entrepreneurship. तो आपको बताना है इसमें से कौन से options correct. Now about the Toropex 21 exercise conducted in the Pacific Ocean, and it's a binary theater operation readiness exercise which is conducted. So do check it out. Which among the following is the correct options? So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can reach to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.